Hey friends, welcome back to my channel, NBC Lifestyles Diary. My name is Marie. I live in New York and I love fashion, travel, and cultural events. And I'm asking you to join me on the adventure. Peter's invitation to Paris had sent her in a spin. She remembers being frozen as he kissed her, and the only thing she held on to was his saying they would take it slow. She felt a sinking feeling, a quake, because she didn't know who she was in this moment. She knew she was in crisis. What was she blinded by? What a stupid question. She was blinded by the money. And Patricia was lost. First, she was reeled in by an expensive meal, and now she was being gotten by a trip to Paris. Oh, but what a trip. It was spring, and he had booked a suite at the George V Hotel. She didn't know then how grand it was, but now she knows all the finest hotels and restaurants. The George V, a Four Seasons hotel, was a 1928 Art Deco landmark, right off the Champs-Élysées, close to all the luxury shopping. They were ushered in by the doorman and walked into the luxurious lobby facing an enclosed marble courtyard. The hotel was adorned with these incredible flower arrangements and art everywhere. There were 3 restaurants, Le Cinq, Le Georges, and L'Orangerie, all of them Michelin starred. The hotel, of course, had a luxurious spa. They had a suite with a balcony. It was plush with a continuation of floral arrangements and art on the walls. It was very traditional, but Patricia had gotten used to this decor from all the places she explored with Peter. They arrived slightly jet-lagged because she had drank too much champagne in first class. So maybe the correct phrase is hungover. On the flight over, Peter told her all the things they would do in Paris. He wanted to spoil her. She focused on this experience. She wanted this ingrained in her memory, and she drank champagne to take away the tension. Upon arriving, she decided she would take action and get it over with. To Peter's surprise, she initiated it, and to her relief, it was over quickly. The rest was a whirlwind of activity. Dinner at Le Cinq, shopping, or rather window shopping on the Champs-Élysées. So many firsts. Her first trip to Paris via first class. Her first Michelin-starred meal. Peter was laying it on, but there were some red flags. This trip to Paris was a business trip for Peter, because rich businessmen are always working and everything has to be a tax write-off. She was left to wander and explore Paris on her own. Patricia didn't mind that because she was uncomfortable with some of the looks she and Peter received on the street when he held her hand or her waist. The Paris shopping wasn't as extravagant as she thought because he wasn't around, and no, he didn't leave her his credit card. After the purchases at Bergdorf, Peter hadn't really bought her anything. She thought Paris would change that. She made the mistake of stopping at a Zara's window, and that's when he whisked her in and bought a few items. But what happened to Chanel? She wondered what was the shift. Then she thought of that scene in Priceless when Audrey Tauto's character showed Gad Elmaleh's character how to get his due. That evening at dinner, when Peter asked if she was enjoying her time, she sadly responded that when he promised her shopping, she thought he'd at least take her to Chanel. Peter's face twitched slightly. He didn't like demands. Patricia noticed this and was truly annoyed. This man is looking not to keep his word. The conversation cooled and Patricia withdrew. She withdrew everything. Now the cat and mouse game begins and the battle of the wills. Patricia did not like this feeling. Before she was in denial what was going on, but now with this conversation with Peter, it was clear. She was bartering for a dinner, for a trip, and now for a Chanel label. Who the hell had she become? How was she here? She had plenty of rationalizations. She went along because the life he offered was better than the 2 jobs she held while living paycheck to paycheck. But now in Paris, hiding in a hotel spa, no matter how luxurious, did not feel good. That's why when she agreed to go to Paris, she felt lost. What was she doing? It didn't make her feel good. Instead, she felt petty and small. Patricia's first disillusionment was the dinner and the discussion about shopping. Peter suddenly forgot all his promises about showing her around and spoiling her, and she felt small that she did all this for so little. She thought she was an accidental gold digger. If she were more savvy, or if she had been a gold digger school, she would have learned to negotiate all of this before flying out to Paris. She would have set her standards. That last thought made her cringe. Standards? She had been raised with standards. Why was she here? She realized this was her narrative and she could change it. Fuck Peter's old ass and fuck Sex and the City and all these movies for feeding her this crap. They left in 2 days. She didn't need anything from Peter. This meant nothing to her, and she wasn't sleeping with him again, even if he bought her a Chanel bag stuffed with gold. This feeling wasn't worth it. This confusion and losing of herself. She had finally gained the courage, and she left the spa. When she got to her room, and Peter was waiting for her, she pretended to have cramps. Flying home and regaining herself was the best experience she ever had. Patricia and Peter barely talked on their flight home. Peter seemed very disinterested, and Patricia didn't care. To the undiscerning eye, they would appear to be merely acquaintances. On that flight home, Patricia had a long time to think about this experience. She knew that she wanted better in life, but nobody was going to give it to her. Everything had a price. She was young, she was in the law firm, she could increase her earning potential, even if it was just by getting promoted to being a paralegal. The law firm had a program. She could get tuition reimbursement, or she could just gain it by experience. But she could shift her circumstances, and she didn't need any more Peters in her life. If you enjoy this, please make sure to give me a thumbs up, and remember to like, subscribe, and share.